I don't know how long you've been Googling around for team building activities for work in small groups, but maybe this is the first time you've landed and there's actually a small group. So I'm actually just in Austin right now, hanging out with 6 other awesome speaker, author, facilitator types in a retreat. And we're kind of winding down. And so this is just the exercise that I was gonna lead anyway, whether there was a camera here or not. And so I think showing is often better than telling. So I'm just gonna lead the activity, and you can steal it and ruthlessly reinterpret it and apply it to your own context. One more note to you before I turn to you. Team building activities are generally horrible, terrible, cringeworthy, and what makes them palatable is really intentional framing and purpose. And so pay attention to, as I go to lead this activity, pay attention to the framing that I offer that will case the otherwise exercise and make it really useful. So you sent me a blog earlier this morning from Seth Godin that was kind of differentiating or distinguishing between choice versus decision. And decision, right? Decide, herbicide, pesticide, genocide, to cut off, to exclude, to kill off. Choice is I picked it because I picked it. So 3 years ago or so, Will, my late co-author and co-founder, came back from this Leadership Academy retreat in Ireland, and he was all feeling very wise. And he called me up and he said, Chad, chocolate or vanilla? So let's just do this, chocolate or vanilla? Why did you choose chocolate?
It's my favorite flavor.
So your favorite chose chocolate. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Vanilla. Why did you choose vanilla?
I love the smell.
So smell chose chocolate. And he did this, and I got real frustrated. He did this for 45 minutes. Chocolate or vanilla, chocolate or vanilla. I kept giving reasons. I said both, swirl. I tried everything. And finally, I got so frustrated with him. And he said chocolate or vanilla, and I said, chocolate. Why did you choose chocolate? Because I chose chocolate. And he was like, And the idea is that when we decide, we make pros and cons, and we sift and sort and try to find the right decision. And when we choose, we are emotionally in tune. We're aware with what our priorities are, what's most important to us, and we make a choice knowing that it might be imperfect, but we're gonna land in that choice. So, probably leaving a retreat like this, the most useful thing for all of us is making a choice and not deciding. And so there's 60 words in this little future-focused deck of We Connect cards, which you can get for free in a link in the description. And when I created this deck, I set out on the back of the cards to put 60 things that made the future as easy as cracking open a fortune cookie. So the idea of like, wouldn't it be cool if I could just hand you all a fortune cookie, and here's your number one next thing, focus all of your effort on this, let everything else drift away. Unfortunately, fortune cookies are a bit more random than that. And so what I'd love for you to do is choose 2 words that before we go into like the action planning and what you want to do walking out of here, choose 2 words that you think will be extremely supportive of your next 60 to 90 days. So go ahead, lean in, go shopping. So here's the invite. So each of the cards have words: organization, confidence, mindfulness, reflection, celebration. And on the back is a question that relates in some way. So what I'd love for you to do is, my author, mentor heroes, Peter Block is, in my mind, famous for saying, change happens in small groups. So even though there's 6 of us, even if you're doing team building in a small group, my invite is, if you've got 6 or more people, divide the group. Break out into groups of 3. I'm loving groups of 3, maybe 4 if you've got to, and have an odd number. And so break out into groups, and the invite is to just share what, if you were to combine these 2 words, what that might look like over the next 60 to 90 days. So if you were to combine these 2 words, what would that look like over the next 60 to 90 days? And then once you've shared that, flip over and choose what is the most relevant question for you and answer that to the group. All right. The intent is to, in 5 to 9 minutes, realistically in this group, 10 to 15 minutes, to have a conversation that you all come back and you actually feel like, holy smokes, if I don't decide on anything else, if I don't choose anything else leaving here, just this is gonna send me into the next 60 to 90 days way more peaceful, intentional, et cetera, than I would have otherwise. Cool? All right, so share how these two words would combine and shape the next 60 to 90 days. Flip over the question, share the most relevant. Ideally in small groups, condensing it down 5 to 9 minutes, but depending on your context, up to 15 minutes to do a little connection before content, for me is the best way to sustainably create team building in small groups where nobody's making chicken sounds. Cool, go for it. So Natalia asked a super lovely question as we were chatting, which was, when you facilitate this, do you want people to go around and share, or can we jump in and do a flowing conversation? And I realized for me, team building, I've just reframed team building in my mind, because for most people it gives them hives, and so I've just reframed it as teleporting people into relevant, meaningful, novel conversations that they otherwise never would have had. So assuming, as the leader, as the facilitator, as the host, you're assuming the social risk for people to just jump into a conversation that they 0% chance probably they would have had it, and they jump into it really good chat. And so for me, I started to say, whatever, free flow, just have a meaningful conversation. And then I was like, actually, and part of the intent of connection before content is that everybody uses their larynx in the first 5% of a gathering. And so I want, if we have 9 minutes, I might say something to the effect of, as a framing, I might say something to the effect of, you got 9 minutes, you got 3 people in a group, that means if you talk for more than 3 minutes, you're stealing from other people. So you can do that, just be aware of that. And just making it clear so that they can choose to free flow, but also I do actually want everybody to be heard by the end of that conversation. That's one of the values of it. This is one small idea. The channel's filled with about 400 other ideas. If you want the only stuff that I travel with to lead team building for small groups, big groups, etc., there's probably a link in the description. Also in the description is a link to each one of these really amazing speaker, author, facilitator friends who humored me by letting me film the opening exercise for the wrap up to our retreat. Have an awesome day.